Have you ever felt like there are different levels to the things that you need from this world, and that they have different requirements in terms of how you get those things? Turns out there is a theory that explains all of that. My name is Rich Pearson. I'm a professional counsellor and psychotherapist based in Falmouth in Cornwall, and today we are going to be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Maslow was a philosopher who came up with this idea that there was a sort of pyramid, if you like, that had various different levels on it of things that we need as a person. He broke this down into a number of different levels, and if you search for Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow spelt M-A-S-L-O-W, you'll find there are various different pyramid-shaped explanations, and they sometimes have different names to different levels of it. But I've found one here which I'm working from to describe the various levels of it, and I'm going to go through those levels and try and explain to you what they mean to me and to how I use this to help my clients. So if you imagine this lovely pyramid, and at the very bottom of it, which is the widest level, you would have the physiological needs. So again, this is a hierarchy of needs. So starting at the bottom, we're going for the most basic things. Now, human beings are essentially carbon-based life forms, and we require oxygen, we require water, we require food, and also on that bottom level as well, there's things like sleep, there's things like procreation, so sex and things like that. All of those things are things that are necessary for us to survive and exist. Now, those are just the things which literally keep a human being walking along and going every day. They need food, they need water, they need sleep, they need someone to have procreated beforehand so that they can exist, they need oxygen to breathe. Those are the basic needs. And it's terrifying when we look at it really in this world that there are some people that do not get those basic needs. You think of people in African countries, for example, where clean water is simply not a thing that's available, where food is so scarce and so sparse and often riddled with bacteria and stuff. It makes me feel really upset in a sense that we destabilize these countries and don't allow them to have these very, very basic human rights and needs. And additionally, things like breathing, oxygen and stuff, take it to the other extent. You look at people living in megacities like Mexico City or Tokyo, places like that, where smog and air pollution is a real serious problem. I have friends who have lived in London who are the same age as me, I'm 35, who have had heart attacks when they were 30 because of the air that they're breathing in and stuff. And it's one of the things that, I don't want to make this too political, but everyone in the world should have all of these levels, but the very bottom basic one, food, water, being able to breathe the air, those should just be things that we all have. But we'll focus on the kind of clients that I generally see, and most people who I see have those things and don't have to worry about it too much. That said, even in this country, sorry, this is going to become a political rant, I'm sorry. Even in this country, we've got nurses using food banks. Like, sort it out, Great Britain. Either way, those are the physiological things that are along the bottom. So the next one up is safety. So you'll notice in that first thing, I talked about the things that human being needs simply to exist. Now, that doesn't involve things that would like protect you from the elements or anything like that. So with safety being the second level, you've got shelter, clothing, employment in the sort of modern day world that we have here. So your general health, and so those things which all develop safety around us. And again, most people that I talk to in a counselling environment, they have physiological needs met, so they've got air, water, food, sleep and stuff like that, and they generally all got safety. They've got a roof over their heads, they've got clothes on their back, they're protected from the elements, and they also have gainful employment. They're not about to lose any of those things like the roof over their head or anything, and they're generally okay. the next level up, and the scary thing is when you think about all of these things, you think about where you get off on this level, which level it is that you get off and say, well, I don't have all of that, or do you miss one? Because you can sometimes as well. Because the next one, the next level up, this is the middle level, is love and belonging. And you might think that should be the very top level, but we'll see how this goes. So love and belonging, that's things like friendship, family, sexual intimacy, and these are things that are important to human beings. Sexual intimacy is a bit of a weird one, and there's a much bigger thing that I could go into in that, because when you think of things like the incel community, when you think of entitlement, when you think of people who believe that they are entitled to certain things, it's a difficult one to tread. But generally, following along from where we've gone, you've got the physiological needs: air, water, breathing, food, stuff like that. Next level is safety, so shelter, clothing, health, all those kind of things like that. Next up, love, friendship, family. Now those things are really hugely important to me. We've just started a family here, basically. My daughter is about 4 months old, just coming up to it, and it's really exciting. I get on very well with my brother and my mum. My dad sadly passed away a while ago, but family is important, and friendship is really important to me as well. I've got some great friends that I ride bikes with. I've made some great friends on the counselling course that I did to get to this point, and also, I have really good friends that I just socialise with and go to the pub and have a few beers with. So those things are hugely important. The next level. Now again, these things start off as quite big things, and this is where they start to become really quite personal. Esteem. Esteem is the next level. So self-esteem, confidence, achievement, the respect of others, things that matter to us generally are what Maslow recognized as the second to last kind of level of the pyramid. We feel the need to feel good about ourselves. So there's feeling anything at all, which is the bottom level basically, because without air, water and food, you're going to die and you won't feel anything. There's feeling safe, which is again something we think of as a very basic human right, that the roof over your head isn't going to be taken away, that you're going to have access to all those things at the bottom level, that you're going to be safe in that sense. Then there's that feeling of love that you get from your friends, your family, and from sexual intimacy with whichever partner you have or anything like that. That's hugely important in terms of what you're feeling. And then the next level, this is where it gets even higher, is how you feel about yourself. How do you feel in terms of your self-esteem? Do you regard yourself kindly? Are you nice to yourself? Do you meet your conditions of worth, which we talked about in a few previous videos? So it's really important to consider those things in terms of how do I feel about myself? And then the last level is self-actualization. Now, this is a bit of a hard one to kind of explain, but essentially it's the things, I think of this as like the food for the soul level, because this has now gone beyond yourself. This is your soul. This is the purpose that you have within you. And that is things like morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, things like the acceptance of facts and a lack of prejudice. All of the things that make your soul work. That's the top level. That's self-actualization. So I'm going to run through them all again very quickly. Physiological at the bottom, the things that you need to keep you alive. Safety, the things that you need to protect you from the world around us. Protection from the elements, health, medicine, all those kind of things like that. Love and belonging, family, friendship, kinship, those kinds of things. Next up is esteem. So how do we feel about ourselves? How kind are we to ourselves? Are we happy with the person that we are? Do we feel confident and respected in what we do? And the last thing, self-actualization. Are we doing the things that we want to do? That's the key to that top level, I think. Everything else there is pretty much a need that's becoming a luxury, I guess, as it were, as it goes on, as some people might refer to it. But the top level is, what do I want? What does my soul desire? What do I need to do? And all this ties into counseling, because I use this quite regularly to work with clients to say to them, what do you want? I'm not a life coach. It's not my job to kind of say to people, this is what you should be doing with your life, or trying to help people. But it is something that I do when people say, oh, I feel like I should be doing something else with my life. And I get out Maslow's hierarchy and I go, right, okay, let's go through the basics. Do you have access to food and water and air and stuff like that? Yes, you do. Okay. Have you got a job? Does it, have you got an income, basically? Are you safe from the elements? Yes, all that. Have you got friendship? Well, and that's where people generally might start to say, no, I don't have too many friends, or I haven't started a family yet, but I really want to. Now, by the way, I'm also not saying that starting a family is imperative. These are just examples. But what I think I can say relatively categorically, and what Maslow kind of gets at in the love and belonging level in the middle there, is that association with other people on some level, whether it's having your own family, whether it's having friends, or both, or one or the other, is important. It is key. And then we get to the next level and I say to people, how do you feel in yourself? Do you feel like other people respect you? Do you feel happy about who you are as a person? And on the top level, self-actualization. What do you want? What does your soul sing for? What do you ask for in life? What would you really want to be doing that you're not? Where do you want to be going? And anyone can use Maslow's hierarchy of needs to look at it and use it as like a tick box exercise. Go through it and go, okay, I've got that, I don't have that. And sometimes you will have, some people will be really self-actualized. They'll be like, I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. I'm making all the things that make my soul really happy. But you don't feel respected by other people because of it, or you don't have friends to share that kind of happiness with. So if you want to find out more, there's loads of information on Google. You can go and look for Maslow's hierarchy of needs and check it out and see how you do in terms of what you're feeling against that tick list of what Maslow thought was what we needed. I hope you've enjoyed this video on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow for the next video. Thanks very much.